The 1967 referendum was a referendum in which people campaigned to alter the constitution for equal rights for the Aboriginal people. The supporters of the change wanted Aboriginal people to be counted as citizens of Australia. Another change that the 1967 referendum brought was for the Commonwealth of Australia to create laws for the Aboriginal people, not individual states, where there would be variations from state to state. However, before the 1967 referendum, Aboriginal people had always been treated like animals of the land, ever since British settlement.
The British first arrived in Australia at Botany Bay, Sydney in 1788. From 1829, Australia was considered part of the dominions of the Crown, which meant that all inhabitants were regarded as British subjects. This included Aboriginal people.
Ever since the arrival and settlement of the British, the Aboriginal people were considered to be the fauna of the land. It was not until the passing of the Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1900 and the Commonwealth Franchise Act 1902 that the Aboriginal people were considered as citizens of Australia.
However, before the 1967 referendum, there were a series of events that led to the eventual change of the Constitution.
1914 to 1918 was the period in which World War I occurred. At the time of the war, there was an act, the Defence Act 1909, that prevented people who were not of European descent to join the Defence Force. However, 300 to 400 Aboriginal people did join, and a strong bond between the white and Aboriginal people was made.
In the 1920s, the Association for the Protection of Native Races reappeared, after being inactive since 1913. In 1928, the association said that there needed to be a Royal Commission to look into the ways that the Commonwealth was dealing with the Aboriginal people.
In 1932, a man by the name of William Cooper established the Australian Aborigines League in Melbourne to criticise the living conditions of Aboriginal people.
In 1937, in Dubbo, country New South Wales, William Ferguson and Jack Patton re-established the Aborigines Progressive Association. They held the first day of mourning in Sydney on the 26th of January 1938. They lobbied for Aboriginal rights for citizenship and education. The push for a referendum started in 1957 with Jessie Street. She campaigned for Aboriginal people to be included in the national census. Her petition was read in the House of Representatives. Also in the same year, a few Aboriginal people were granted special citizenship rights, including famous artist Alba Namatjira and actor for the movie Cheddar, Robert Tutawali.
In 1967, the referendum was held. The two questions asked were, should Aboriginal people be counted in the Australian census, and should the Commonwealth Government be given power to make laws for Aboriginal people?
A convincing amount of 90.8% of voters voted yes. Consequently, this gave way for the Council of Aboriginal Affairs was set up. The purpose of the council was to recommend policies and programs to the government. However, the Aboriginals in the end got what they want. They were granted citizenship, uniform laws for the whole country was made and given the vote, which meant that they had a voice in Parliament.